The next thing we've talked about is motivating kids to be able to continue to practice something repetitively when quite often boredom sets in. And as you know, a child's attention span is a lot smaller than an adult's. And one of the things that we focused on in the class and in week 6 was having kids learn a series of techniques, and then we move them all towards the back of the room. And as you can see, I've got an area here with squares. So all I do is I teach them 10 movements, teach them 5 movements. Say it's a kata or a pattern, and we know that it takes hundreds of repetitions of that pattern or that kata to be able to perform it well and to be able to pay attention to detail and not have yourself thrown by a bit of pressure. So I've taught the kids all these moves. I know I've got to practice it over and over and over again, but I've got to find some way of making it interesting. Here's one way. I get all of the kids at the back of the room on one square each. And all of the kids are right about here. So the front kid would be about here. So as the instructor, I'm standing about here, and I say 1 for the first technique, then 2 for the second technique, and so on. I pick one of the kids who's doing it really well, and I say to that particular kid, you move forward to the front square. And let's imagine it's this square here. So all the kids are behind him. I've got one kid with a great technique, and he might be doing a stance or a movement, and I just think that's brilliant. He's got it. Now, he could get bored, so I'm going to reward his good technique by bringing him to the front. I also want the other kids in the class to model his technique, especially if I'm running this show by myself. I've got no assistants. I've got 20 kids. So I bring my model student out the front. He's not good enough to assist and to teach for me yet, but his technique is brilliant. So I say, this kid is going to be a sensei when he grows up. Put him out the front. So I say, you can stand at the front. So then I go back to 1 again. So I say 1. And I say, look at his technique, look at his stance, look at his hand position, look at his focus. So all of the kids are modelling him. He now feels good because he's been rewarded. The kids at the back are trying to do as well as him. So I keep going, 2, 3, 4. Then I find another kid has lifted slightly. So I say to the other kid, all I do is have to point at him and then point to the next square. So I'll go 4, 5. Another kid runs out the front and adopts the same position. So I go, right, everybody back to 1 again. Prepare, 1, 2. So I've got 2 kids out the front. Everybody's trying to get out the front. As I progress through the class, I put more and more kids into squares that move forward. If I've got that brilliant kid who I'd first organised, I'll bring him out to here. And all I have to do is I don't have to teach. I just find a kid who's doing something that I want to teach, that I want to improve really well. I point to him or her and I point to a square there. Or as you can see in the front view there, there's circles and dots. So my first method of disguising repetition is to bring the kids forward 1 at a time so the rest of the class can see, and realising that that is what the performance that I want looks like. Rather than me say, everybody, you have to drop your weight. You have to do the block this way. You have to perform the block that way. I can just point it out. I'm rewarding the kids who are doing the right thing, and I'm encouraging the kids at the back. And by the way, the goal is everybody moves forward. If I've got the time, I'll have my best kids right here, which is underneath where the camera, you can't see it. I'll have my second best kids here, and even the kids who are at the very back who might have only done one thing right, I still want to look for that and bring them forward. I might not bring them right to the very front because everybody's going to copy them and they may not be brilliant, but I still want to pounce on them the minute they do something right. I'll go, Jeremy, good job with that stance, come one step forward, and I'll point to the exact spot I want. It may still be at the back, but I'm still rewarding Jeremy for an improvement. So that's my first way that I can disguise repetition and keep kids motivated to keep going.